Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. Yesterday was the 66th anniversary of D-Day. 160,000 of our troops stormed the heavily fortified beaches of Normandy. Nobody knows exactly the exact number, but conservatively we think we lost about 6,000 soldiers in one day. The battle was one of the biggest keys to the eventual victory in World War II. Our president, Commander-in-Chief, commemorated it at a kind of a concert with Kelly Clarkson and Lionel Richie. I mean, it's like we're turning into Marie Antoinette all of a sudden. This administration cannot even post a mention of D-Day on the White House website. Can we stop for 2 seconds to say something about it? Maybe. At least VP Joe Biden and Rahm Emanuel were on top of things. Here's how they marked the... Yes, there we... May I just ask this question? Are these the clowns we're depending on to restore America? I think we should stop putting our faith here and start putting our faith in each other. Hello, America. I know that progressives have tried to tell you otherwise, but you don't need to be a rocket scientist to lead America. You don't. You don't need a degree from Harvard or Yale. It's not a prerequisite for president. But there is a couple of essential traits that you need. One, honesty, and two, common sense. You need to be able to look at a problem and see what the solution is, what common sense, what makes sense and what doesn't. And even if it disagrees with what you want it to be, you have enough honesty and integrity to say, okay, this is probably going to hurt me, but we got to do that. We have completely abandoned doing anything remotely close to common sense, and I can't find very many people with integrity today. We're going to try to simplify things tonight and just ask you, what would your grandparents say? The news today, if my grandparents, and they've been dead for quite a number of years now, but I don't even think they'd understand today's world. They would just look at us and say, what the hell are you even talking about? Stock markets around the world today took a dive. Well, they did last week. Today was pretty stable. The Asian market tumbled the most it has in 14 months. Well, now how come? How come? We all heard the great news from the president about how unemployment went from 9.9 to 9.7 and that the economy is getting stronger every single day. Here's what he said.
This report is a sign that our economy is getting stronger by the day.
This is a jobs report that came out last week where we created all of these jobs. Really? Over 400,000 jobs were created? Yeah, but they were temporary government census jobs. What would your grandparents say to a government that has hired over 400,000 people for a temporary position in the census? And then the president comes out and says, hey, this is great, huh? We now have more census workers. Try this out. More census workers at 564,000 census workers. We have more than the oil and gas extraction industry, which is about 165,000 jobs. How about electronic and appliance stores? Every time you go into an electronic and appliance store, you know how many appliance store workers we have? 480,000 census workers. Appliance store. How about everybody working for the rail transportation system? Love this one. You take a train, you can know that there are about 216,000 people backing you up. For air transportation, you want to go take an airplane, you know that the air transportation industry is... Ready? For the airlines, utilities. You see the guys working on the phone poles. You see the guys in the utility trucks and the utility companies. Everybody. 557,000 people that power America. But counting America is 564,000? You got to be kidding me. And because we've hired so many workers, the cost of counting every single one of us is skyrocketing. Let me show you this. In 2000, it cost us to count everybody $4.5 billion in the year 2000. Do you know what it is? What it's set to cost this year? 14.5. What are we spending the extra $10 billion on? And sure, of the jobs added last month, roughly 96% were census workers. Temporary positions. But other than that, hey, we're skyrocketing, aren't we? Does anybody think spending $14.5 billion on temp census workers is good for the country in the long run? What would our grandparents say? Probably things that I couldn't say on television. At least my grandfather probably would say things that you couldn't say out loud. And a lot more things that would make more sense than the clowns in Washington are saying now. I've told you on this program that Europe is falling apart. They try to tell you that this is an American problem. It's not. It is a global problem. Now, over the weekend, we find out that Hungary looks like it's the next to go the way of Greece. The euro is at a new 4-year low today. Iran is now selling off all of their euros. Today, the Eurozone nations announced they're setting up, get this, a $1 trillion bailout fund to soothe the market jitters. Okay, hang on. They're going to set up another $1 trillion that they don't have, and that's supposed to make us feel better? They don't have the money. That doesn't make me feel better. Does it make you feel better? I live in America's wealthiest state. That's what they say Connecticut is. They just had their credit rating reduced from AA+ to AA as they prepare to borrow almost another $1 billion to close a budget gap. That's after borrowing almost $1 billion last year to close a budget gap. What do you say we use common sense and cut the spending? Obama is now about to push our national debt higher than the U.S. domestic product. That means that everything we make and sell in a whole year, we could take it all up, and we still couldn't pay for the small number debt that we owe. Not all the debt that we've promised. I told you these things would happen. Do you remember? Do we have the, yeah. Do you remember when I did this? Oh, I got so much heat for this. This is, I don't even know, February 18th. I said, we're the Titanic. And it's sinking. But that's okay. Don't worry about the ship. Worry about the passengers on board. Got so much heat for doing this. Show me the front page of the Drudge Report today. Debt poised to overtake GDP. I remember distinctively telling you, when the ship raises up out of the water, that's when it's too late. And the world catches up to you. Something else that happened over in Europe, the Bilderbergers had their meeting. I don't really know much about these people. I really don't care. I know probably more about the Build-A-Bear people in the malls, and I know those people are brainwashing our kids with teddy bears. I don't know what kind of secret meetings they have to get our kids into the bear industry, but I don't like it. If the Bilderbergs are half as evil as the teddy bear people, look out. Bilderbergers had a big meeting this weekend. Oh, there he goes. Conspiracy going right for the Bilderbergers. There it is. You don't need a conspiracy theory. You don't need any of them. Your critics, want to paint you as a kook. You don't need it. There's no star chamber. These supposedly elite and powerful people secretly meeting about something behind closed doors, and we have no idea what it is. First of all, here's a list of the 130 people reported attendees that are there. I know that Bill Clinton was there and a whole bunch of people. These are all the big elites of the world. Okay, we don't know what they were talking about. Have you read a newspaper? You think they're talking about their golf handicaps or a great movie? Have you seen Robin Hood yet? Are you kidding me? They're talking about the economic shape of the world. They're asking if the euro will survive. They're wondering if America will survive. And they're preparing just in case. What will the world look like a year from now? That's what they're talking about. And it's what we should be talking about. But we're not. Here's the not-so-secret that most people don't know. America's economy is based on spending. They're not going to tell you how bad things are. They can't. If George Washington were president today, I don't think he'd tell you. I mean, pick your favorite president. Washington, Reagan, Clinton, I don't care who it is. They're never going to come out and say, whoa, is our economy toast? They're not going to do it. Because 70% of our economy is based on spending. If you stop spending, the world stops spending, the economy stops. It's over. That's why Obama or any president can look you in the eye with a straight face and say, it's a good thing that we spent $14.5 billion on the census. Because they know if they're going to keep this game alive, somebody has to spend $14.5 billion. And if you ain't going to do it, they will.